We would use that and cut between the frames, between what she was seeing, the real world, and what also might be happening. So the bummer was we had to shoot everything like 3 times.
Right.
So we were always up against it, you know, but it was quite a lot to juggle, but really exciting to do it in camera.
This movie's a ton of fun, and here's the thing, I love superhero movies, but this is really like an action thriller that I enjoyed, and also reminds me a little bit of Final Destination. I love the kaleidoscope kind of feel of the vision sequences, and I love the way that Cassie's powers are kind of displayed throughout the film. Can you talk about where that inspiration came from and how you achieved that look?
I love that you use the word kaleidoscopic, because I talked about that, about a kaleidoscope of things coming towards her. And I think when I first read the script, I'm not going to lie, I was like, clairvoyance. That's is that, how am I going to do that? Right? Okay. And then I thought about memory, and you know sometimes how a memory or something from the past can come flying back at you hurtling. I thought, okay, let's think about that, but it's in the future. So, you know, it's like memory but in reverse, or fast forward, I guess, whichever way you want to look at it. But that to me was the really interesting thing, and how memory comes at you in often non-linear, slipstream, you know, frenetic images, not always sure that they quite marry together. So it was about taking that as a sort of a grounding, and then seeing how I could make it as thrilling, terrifying at times, exciting, and vibrant as possible.
Speaking of terrifying, I feel like Ezekiel's character in this is almost like a slasher movie villain, as like a Spider-Man character. Can you talk about that approach to the character?
I think what is so interesting about Ezekiel is he's fighting for survival.
Sure.
And he will do anything to survive. And I think coming at it definitely in a more visceral way was exciting, to be able to sort of take something like the scene on the train and see him in action, both as he is as a person and as he is in his suit, as it were. The gift of being able to do that was so much fun, and that I think helped blend into seeing somebody do something really bad, both as a person and as a character.
Now, you've dipped your toes into the Marvel world before. You've directed on Jessica Jones and The Defenders. Would you like to revisit that universe and those characters, and would you like Madam Web to be included in that larger universe?
Wouldn't that be amazing? I mean, Jessica Jones was my sort of first introduction to the Marvel Universe, and I remember reading Alias and just being blown away. I thought, oh, I'll read a couple of pages, and I sat down and read it from cover to cover. I thought the brilliance and the brevity of the storytelling and the propulsion that you got from reading this, and the actual graphic images were bursting off the page. They were so cinematic and lend themselves to be sort of like put on a screen, and I got very excited by that. And similarly, when I read the script of Madam Web, I was like, okay, there are some similarities between the character. They're quite abrasive, you know, initially, but when you get beneath the surface, they've got a heart. So I think it'd be really interesting to see those two together, you know?
Absolutely.
I really do.
Now,
why not?
Yeah, absolutely. Now, I love the fact that this is a big action movie, but it feels very grounded. Like, it feels like all the things were done practically in camera. Can you talk about that approach a little bit?
Yeah, I think it was really important to me that we kept it grounded, you know, because it was a psychological, cerebral, you know, ability. I thought, how can we keep this real and grounded, and something that we can all relate to in a way that we all might get, you know, as scary as that might be with some of these scenes. So, and I definitely wanted to use the camera and techniques more that I sort of learned along the way in these many things. But I knew I had already done PTSD with Jessica, so how was I going to do it differently? So I did things on that, like taking the lens off and playing around with it. And on this one, I used a diopter that I would personally swipe in front of the lens, which gives you this sort of depth of field that smashes in and out. And then we would use that and cut between the frames, between what she was seeing, the real world, and what also might be happening. So the bummer was we had to shoot everything like 3 times.
Right.
So we were always up against it, you know, but it was quite a lot to juggle, but really exciting to do it in camera.
Thank you so much for your time, SJ. I love the fact that this is a comic book movie, but it's also like its own kind of like genre thing. I think it's a lot of fun. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
Of course,
really
thank you.
excited to meet you. Thank you
Pleasure.
very much.
Thanks,
Thank
SJ.
you.
Take care.